Most people look at Sigma males and think they're just quiet loners who don't have much going on. They see a guy who doesn't talk much, doesn't try to impress anyone, and spends a lot of time alone. So they assume he's either shy, antisocial, or just not that sharp. Here's the thing about Sigma males, though. They naturally operate outside the typical social hierarchy and prefer to stay low-key about it. They're not competing for status, not seeking validation from groups, and not performing for attention like most people do. This makes them seem invisible or unremarkable to people who only notice those fighting for the spotlight. But what if everything people think they're seeing is completely wrong? What if those behaviors that seem weird or off-putting are actually covering up something most people would never expect? The truth is, there's a specific type of intelligence hiding in plain sight that almost everyone misses because it doesn't look like the intelligence we're taught to recognize. Here are 8 weird traits that prove Sigma males are way smarter than anyone realizes. 1. They act dumb to test your intentions. Have you ever noticed how some people suddenly play stupid when you ask them something they clearly know the answer to? Most people think it's annoying or weird, but there's actually a calculated reason behind it when Sigma males do this. Playing dumb is one of the oldest intelligence tests in the book. When someone pretends not to know something, they get to watch how you react. Do you get impatient and condescending? Do you try to take advantage of their supposed ignorance? Do you show your real personality when you think you're dealing with someone less intelligent than you? Psychologists call this strategic incompetence, but for Sigma males, it's more like strategic observation. They're not actually confused, they're studying your character. Robert Greene wrote in The 48 Laws of Power that appearing less intelligent than you are can be a powerful tool for gathering information about people's true intentions. This works because most people can't resist the urge to feel superior. When they think they're smarter than someone, their guard drops, and their real personality comes out. The condescending tone, the oversimplified explanations, the subtle disrespect. All of it reveals who they really are when they think they have the upper hand. Sigma males use this information to categorize people accurately without ever revealing how much they actually know. 2. They enjoy being underestimated. Most people hate being underestimated. They'll immediately correct you, show off their credentials, or go out of their way to prove they're smarter than you think. But Sigma males have the opposite reaction. They actually prefer when people underestimate them. This isn't about low self-esteem or lack of confidence. It's about understanding that being underestimated gives you a massive strategic advantage in almost every situation. When people think you're less capable than you actually are, they lower their guard, reveal information they shouldn't, and make assumptions that work in your favor. In competitive situations, being underestimated means your opponents don't prepare properly for you. In social situations, it means people show you their real selves because they don't see you as a threat. In professional settings, it means you can observe and learn without the pressure of high expectations. Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War that all warfare is based on deception, and appearing weaker than you are is one of the most effective deceptions. Sigma males intuitively understand this principle, even if they've never read the book. While everyone else is fighting to be recognized, respected, and seen as intelligent, he's comfortable being underestimated because he knows the real power lies in what people don't see coming. 3. They get bored when things start making sense. Most people feel satisfied when they finally understand something. They like that moment when confusion turns into clarity and everything clicks into place. But Sigma males get bored the second things become too predictable or easy to figure out. This isn't about hating things that make sense. It's about their brains needing constant challenge and surprise to stay interested. Even when watching a movie, if he figures out the plot twist 20 minutes in, he starts losing interest. The mystery is gone, so his brain checks out and starts looking for something more stimulating. Neuroscience shows that intelligent minds need more stimulation to stay engaged. What keeps average intelligence interested leaves high intelligence bored and understimulated. When a Sigma male masters something or figures out how a system works, his brain stops getting that excitement from it. The challenge is gone, the puzzle is solved, so his mind starts hunting for the next mystery. This is why he often has multiple interests that he jumps between rather than sticking with one thing forever. Once he's pulled out all the interesting complexity from something, continuing with it feels like mental death. What looks like he can't commit is really just his intelligence demanding constant growth and new puzzles to stay awake. 4. They argue less the smarter they get. When most people get smarter, they argue more. They've learned more things, so they have more opinions to defend and more knowledge to prove they're right. But Sigma males do the opposite. The more they learn, the less they argue with people. This seems backwards until you understand what's actually happening. As they accumulate knowledge and experience, they start recognizing how little most arguments actually matter. They realize that winning an argument doesn't change reality, doesn't make the other person smarter, and usually just creates resentment. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman found that people rarely change their minds through argument because our brains are wired to defend our existing beliefs rather than objectively evaluate new information. Sigma males learn this lesson and stop wasting energy on debates that go nowhere. But there's another level to this. The smarter they get, the more they realize how much they don't know. True intelligence comes with humility about the limits of your own knowledge. When you understand how complex most topics really are, you become less certain about your positions and less interested in defending them aggressively. So when you see a Sigma refusing to engage in arguments that everyone else is jumping into, it's not because he doesn't have opinions. It's because he's smart enough to know that arguing rarely leads to truth or understanding. 5. They question everything. Ever been told to just do something without being given a reason why? Most people shrug and do it anyway because that's what they're supposed to do. But Sigma males can't move forward until they understand the logic behind it, and this drives people absolutely crazy. In work settings, this becomes a real problem. A boss says to do something a specific way, and instead of just doing it, he asks why. Not to be difficult or disrespectful, but because his brain refuses to execute tasks blindly without understanding the reasoning. When the answer is just because that's how we've always done it, or because I said so, something in him resists. This constant need for understanding looks like being difficult or challenging authority, but it's actually his intelligence refusing to operate on autopilot. He needs to see the logic, understand the purpose, and know the why before his brain will fully commit to the how. As Carl Sagan said, it pays to keep an open mind, but not so open your brains fall out. Questioning prevents blindly following bad instructions or outdated methods. While everyone else is doing things without thinking, he's the one who spots the problems before they happen because he actually thought through what he was being asked to do. 6. They remember random, useless facts. Ask a Sigma a simple question and somehow the conversation ends up including the history of paper clips, the migration patterns of Arctic terns, or how ancient Romans cleaned their teeth. Most people find this annoying or think he's just showing off random knowledge to seem smart. But this isn't about memorizing trivia to impress people. It's about pure curiosity that doesn't care about useful or useless information. Sigma males are really curious about everything, especially the weird stuff that most people dismiss as pointless. The weirder something is, the more it grabs their attention. While most people's brains filter out information that doesn't seem right away relevant, Sigma males collect everything because their curiosity doesn't judge whether something will be useful before getting interested. They want to know how things work, why things exist, and what makes things tick, no matter if it has any practical use. This is why they often make unexpected connections between totally unrelated topics. Their mental database is full of bizarre information that most people never bothered learning. When a problem comes up, they can pull from this massive collection of weird knowledge and find solutions others would never think of. 7. They overthink, but it's really just overanalyzing. Everyone tells them to stop overthinking, to just relax and go with the flow, to not make everything so complicated. But what people call overthinking is actually just thorough analysis running in the background of their minds constantly. Their brains naturally break down everything they experience into component parts, looking for patterns, inconsistencies, and deeper meanings. A simple conversation isn't just a conversation. It's a complex exchange of information that includes tone, body language, word choice, timing, and context that all mean something. Psychologists studying cognitive styles have found that analytical thinkers can't actually turn off this processing. It's not a choice they're making to overthink things, it's how their brains automatically handle information. Telling them to stop overthinking is like telling someone to stop breathing. The process is mostly unconscious. But here's why it actually matters. That so-called overthinking is usually their mind connecting the subtle clues no one else even registers. What looks like paralysis by analysis often prevents mistakes that simpler thinking would walk right into. The person who overthinks whether to trust someone might save themselves from a bad relationship. The one who overanalyzes a job offer might avoid a terrible situation. Their overthinking isn't a bug, it's a feature. 8. They talk to themselves. Catch a Sigma male alone, and you'll probably find him having full conversations with himself in his head, debating both sides of an argument, or mentally walking through scenarios before they happen. Most people think this internal dialogue is weird or a sign of overthinking, but it's actually a sign of high cognitive processing. Internal self-talk helps organize thoughts, solve problems, and process complex information in ways that pure feeling can't. When you work through something in your mind using language, you're using different parts of your brain than when you just feel through it emotionally. This multi-level processing actually makes you smarter at whatever you're working on. Albert Einstein reportedly had constant internal conversations while working through physics problems. The mental dialogue helped him catch errors in his thinking and explore different angles he might have missed. Sigma males do the same thing without even trying. But there's another element. They're basically testing their ideas before sharing them with others. By mentally arguing with themselves, they can find the weak points in their logic, think through counterarguments, and sharpen their thinking before it goes public. What looks like talking to themselves is actually quality control for their ideas. So when this happens, it's not loneliness or weirdness. It's active intelligence processing information in the most effective way possible.